Story time, bitch. So, in the past week, as of recording this video, me and my wife recently moved into our new apartment, which is now our official Team Forbidden headquarters. For the longest time, the members of the group wanted me to build this deck back, but I had to sell most of my collection back when I was getting married because, you know, obviously I need expenses. And in doing that, I sold all of my Amorphage cards with that, and so obviously I couldn't do it. As a freaking homecoming present, they gave me most of the cards, if not all the cards, that I needed for this deck. So this deck is dedicated to all the guys, Scott, John, this guy.
You're welcome.
Eric, Manny, Brian, Ed, Raul, all of them. Josh too. It's dedicated to the guys who helped me make this deck. Yeah, Amorphages. I made this deck a while ago, and it's a pretty fun deck if you run it correctly. It recently wasn't that great because of its consistency problem, but with the release of a new card, it got a lot more consistent. So we'll get right into it. So it's based off of the 7 deadly sins. So we first have lust, gluttony, envy, wrath, greed, pride, sloth, and then an unknown. So, the low level Amorphage monsters all share the same monster effects, to where if they're pendulum summoned or flip summoned, neither player can special summon from the extra deck except for Amorphage cards, which is a pretty good floodgate. The two higher ones up here all share the same ones, where in general, neither player can special summon from the extra deck. So a lot of pendulum players know this guy because they ran him in their decks to lock out their opponents. Now, each of them has a different type of floodgate while they're in the scales. Wrath prevents either player from tributing anything. Envy prevents link 2 or higher link chain, so basically your opponent can't respond to anything except for, like, I don't know, counter trap cards or spell speed 4, basically anything that doesn't start a chain. Gluttony prevents monster effects, lust prevents spells, greed prevents traps, and pride prevents effect damage. Sloth prevents searching, and Goliath is pretty much macrocosmos. They all have the same conditions and costs, to where during your standby phase you need to tribute a monster in order to keep them in the scale, or they're destroyed, and they just go to the top of the extra deck. So that's basically the gist of the deck, is just floodgate on legs. That's essentially what it is. So I'm running 3 of each because they're all great. The ones that you're going to have in the scale the most are the gluttony and the lust, because they're only level 2s, and the scales are level 5 and level 4, so you can only special summon the level 4s, which is wrath, envy, pride, and greed. You're also going to have these in the scale most of the time too, but we'll get to them when we can. So yeah, those are the Amorphage monsters. I don't run the ritual in this because I just wanted to focus on the floodgate ones. If you want me to have a deck that runs the ritual card, I might wait for the new ritual-based deck that's coming out in the new set builders. The Digitron, I believe they're called? Diatron, thank you. So once those come out, I may do do one on that. If you want me to, comment down below and get this to 50 likes, and I'll see if I can do that. Alright, then off to the other monsters. This is the reason why it got more consistent. Odd Eyes Revolution Dragon. This is a scale 12, rank level 12 monster. It has a lot of effects, but the main one that you only need to worry about is that while it's in your hand, you can pay 500 life points, discard it, and then search a Dragon Pendulum monster. Oh gee, I wonder what I'm going to be searching with this guy. Pretty much literally everything in the deck. Even the next monster that's coming out. So yeah, this guy can literally search any monster in your deck. And it's not once per turn. So if you have 2, you can pay 500 life points twice and search out 2 monsters. What's not to love? The next is 2 Odd Eyes Phantasm Dragon. Again, the only thing you need to worry about is the scale effect. Is you can discard 1 card and add 1 face of dragon monster from your pendulum, from your extra deck to your hand. So it's basically recursion.
Any scale 0.
Yeah, any scale 0, meaning that you can pendulum summon out either your lust or your gluttony. So yeah, that's pretty neat. Now off to the spells. 2 Amorphage Infection and 2 Amorphous Persona. The deck lives and dies by these 5 cards. I'm not kidding. Infection is a continuous spell to where once per turn, if a Morphomage monster is tributed or destroyed by battle or card effects, including in your scale, you can search out another one from your deck to your hand. And all Amorphage monsters gain 100 attack for each face-up Amorphage card that you control. So if you have 2 out on the field, it stacks up. It's pretty good. And with how much you are getting out onto your field with the pendulum summons and scales, they can get pretty beefy. Plus with these, it's a field spell and it gives your Morphomage monsters 300 attack and defense. So this plus that they can get pretty high. And up to twice per turn, if your Amorphage monsters are tributed, you can draw a card for each one. So yeah, you can essentially draw 2 cards during your standby phase since you have to tribute to keep them in the scale. So yeah, the only problem with this deck is just getting to these cards, because these help with your consistency the most, and just with your attack boosting. Because without these, the deck kind of struggles. It just plays the waiting game essentially. And next, to help with the consistency, to Extravagance, because you rarely go into your extra deck since it locks you out of your extra deck anyway. 2 Desires. I'm actually thinking of bumping this up to 3. I know, right? But shocker. But come on, I'm running 3 of almost every card in the entire deck, so I don't think it'll be a problem. But even at 2, I hardly see it. So yeah. 3 Ties of the Brethren. I'm actually probably going to take one of these out for the Pot of Desires because it's situational. It can both help and hurt in certain situations. And then 3 Sky Iris. Funny thing is that this card works really well with Infection, because this doesn't specify by who destroys it. So if you have Sky Iris out and a Morphage monster in your scale, use this to destroy the one in your scale to get your Odd Eyes Revolution or Phantasmal, whichever, and then Infection will get you another one. So yeah, that's pretty beefy.
It's free real estate.
Yeah, it's free real estate.
Is that legal?
No. Now to the extra deck, you rarely go into it, but just in case, 2 Mrs. Radiant, since they're all Earth. This is an interesting one, because let's say that you're able to get this out. You, and it's their turn. You link off 2 to spin a card back to their hand, and then you use its second effect to special summon out Sloth, blocking them out of their extra deck unless they get rid of it. So yeah, that's pretty good. Then 2 Elder Entity Insts for Dogmatica matchups. 3 Abyss Dwellers, because it's the best rank 4, and all the monsters you summon are going to be level 4. Tornado Dragon for the back rows. Castiel. Shark. Guska. And Daigusto Emerald for your recursion. This is probably the one, other than Abyss Dweller, you're probably going to go into the most if you're able to, because if any of your monsters are sent to the graveyard, like Revolution Dragon or whatever, it can get it back. So it's always nice to have. Off to the off to the side deck. It's a pretty okay side deck, because it's not really much that you can do to help this deck out. Pankratops is Pankratops. 2 Wavering Eyes in case you go up against any other Pendulum decks. 2 deck lockdowns, because if you don't have access to your Sloth, you need to lock them out some way. 3 Cosmic Cyclone for back row decks. 2 Pendulum Paradoxes. This gets you 2 face-up two face-up Pendulum monsters from your extra deck to your hand, but they have to be different scales. So yeah,
actually, I think they're supposed to be same scale.
No, it's a different scale. I want to put in a second one, but I only have the one at one point. So if you have more, I'm actually, I might put this into the main deck. Who knows? We'll see. 2 Twin Twister because back row decks are this deck's worst enemy, and 2 Royal Decrees. Anyway, that is the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like, comment, subscribe. Comment down below what you want us to do next. We have a bunch of different things coming up for the end of the year. Got a lot of different video ideas, not just deck profiles. Just thinking about changing it up a little bit. But let us know what you guys want us to do in the future, and we'll catch you guys later.